Hey everyone, this is Tony. So this is Tennis Starter Tips episode 1. In this video, I will guide you through how to choose your tennis equipment. So there's not a lot of fancy going on with tennis. The 4 essential equipment I'll be going through is tennis balls, tennis shoes, racket, and then some tennis gadget. Obviously, there are other equipments, but they don't matter too much, but these 4 will directly affect your playing, which is tennis balls, tennis shoes, tennis racket, and some other tennis gadget. So first is tennis balls. There are a lot of different types of tennis balls, but the best one that comes to my mind is Penn and Pro Penn. These two are probably the most common brand of balls in North America. As you can see, it says American's top selling balls on the can of Penn. So Penn is a cheaper version, but it definitely come with really good qualities. Pro Penn is a bit more professional, but it does last longer and comes with a better qualities. So Pro Penn would definitely be a little bit more expensive, but I would definitely recommend Penn to all the beginner tennis players because it's a little bit more heavier, so it's more solid and easier to hit. So these are the adults balls. For kids, it's really different. Kids cannot withstand the power of adults ball because they're really heavy. So there are balls that are made especially for kids. So that kind of make it into a rank of different kind of balls, which is our red balls, orange balls, and green dot. The red ball is the softest. It's really light and usually come with a bit bigger size. It is made for 4 to 6 years old kids. Orange ball comes next. It is made for about 6 to 8 years old kids. And then we have green dot, which is like a transitional state for softballs to adults balls. They're made for 9 to 12 years old kid. So for parents who's trying to buy some tennis balls to play with their kids, be aware of this because adults ball are too powerful and sometimes can hurt children's wrist. So next is tennis shoes. There are tons of different brand of tennis shoes, but I think the best tennis shoes is made by Nike. So these are 3 common Nike shoes. The first one is Vapor Max, 2018. And the next 2 is called Nike Cage 2020. So personally, I wear the first one, Vapor Max. So tennis shoes is really a personal preference. So I like the first one, Vapor Max, because it's relatively soft, and the other 2, Nike Cage, it's stiffer. Nike's tennis shoes comes with a really good quality. The only downside would be it's a bit too expensive. Another thing you need to take note of is for tennis shoes, the size is really important. It's not like if it's a bit too small or a bit too big, it's okay. No, for tennis shoes, it has to be a perfect size for you. So what I mean by perfectly fit means when you put your feet in, there's no space left. It also can't be too cramped in there. And you need to make sure when you wear the tennis shoe and you start running around, your feet cannot move in the shoes, and it can also be too tight that make you uncomfortable. The other 2 really common brand of tennis shoes are Asics and Adidas. A lot of my friends wear Asics tennis shoes. They're a lot like Nike's Cage. They're relatively stiffer. They also comes with a lower price. For Adidas tennis shoes, they are really soft. A bit too soft in my opinion. But it does come with a cheaper price, and softer means more comfortable. So it really is worth considering. At last we have Babolat, which is probably the cheapest of them all. They do come with a really good quality. They can last really long, but the only downside is they're probably not that comfortable. Next, we have the tennis racket. There are a lot different brand and types of tennis racket you can choose from. But only when you go into a higher level of tennis, the different kinds of tennis rackets start to matter. So for beginners, you don't have to worry. You can choose whatever you want, but there are some points you have to take note of. First is grip size. Grip size have 5 different sizes. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. 5 being the largest and 1 being the smallest. Usually for everybody, number 2 size grip works. If it's not too big or too small, it doesn't matter. There's a way to adjust it more precisely, which I'll mention later. But do be aware of this. Next is racket face. Usually for beginners, the bigger the racket face, the better, because it comes with a bigger sweet spot, which means the place that you should hit the ball with. Usually 102 or 105 inch square is the best, so I would recommend beginners to choose racket that has a racket face with those sizes. Next is the length of the racket. This only matter for kids. So for parents who are buying a tennis racket for their children, be aware of this. When you put the racket perpendicular to the ground, the height of the racket should not be over your kid's waist. It should be just a bit lower than the waist, but never over the waist. That means the racket is too big for your children. Next is gadgets. So the first two things that comes to my mind when I talk about tennis gadget is the replacement grip and this little thing at the bottom of the racket called a dampener. The two essential functions for the replacement grip would be it helps adjust precisely of the size of the grip. So you can use this to kind of adjust the thickness of the grip. The other function being it adds a sticky and cushy layer for the grip, so it prevents from sliding away from your hands. It's a really helpful small gadget for a beginner to have. The dampener is used to reduce the vibration and shock from hitting the ball to your hands. This is really a personal preference. I don't use dampener, but a lot of people really like to use it. You probably hear a lot of people say it helps reduce the chance of getting a tennis elbow. Misconception, it does not help with that. My suggestion would be try it on. If it doesn't like it, take it off. It's really a small thing. It doesn't really matter too much. But it's a personal preference, so it's up to you. So there you have it. Tips for tennis beginners about equipment. Thanks for watching. I hope you learn a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.